What's up, YouTube? Today I have a very special guest. He's from the world of MLW. He's the National Openweight Champion. He has arms bigger than a science textbook. This is Alexander Hammerstone. How's it going? Oh yeah, of course. How's quarantine been treating you? Because I know life's still been a little weird, even with MLW just coming back recently.
Yeah, I mean, so luckily out here in Arizona, things are getting pretty, decently back to normal, or somewhat close to it. The wrestling schedule still isn't quite as in full swing as it was, prior to everything, but I've been staying consistently busy, so I'm feeling, pretty happy and pretty excited about that.
Good, that's good. I can see the training obviously still working, looking pretty jacked, still chiseled and stuff. But I was actually I was looking up different questions to ask you today, and I saw a weird comparison online where someone said you were the love child of Brock Lesnar and Jax Teller from a show called Sons of Anarchy, which is apparently the guy has long blonde hair and he has the goatee and stuff, and obviously the Brock Lesnar comparison. What's the strangest comparison you've ever been given before that you remember?
Oh man, strangest. I mean, I've gotten good ones, Thor and Triple H and Big Papa Pump, and all those are blessings. I gotta say, the weirdest and worst one I ever got was someone said I looked like Jim Gaffigan, and I don't know if they were just trying to piss me off, but that was not welcome.
Yeah, I can imagine that probably isn't the best one to hear. But obviously, again, you're a pretty big guy. So if there was a Mount Rushmore of the best physiques in wrestling, who would you put on that?
Oh, geez. That's hard. Gotta go probably Big Papa Pump.
Okay, let's go.
Gotta put my boy Brian Cage up there.
Oh yeah, of course.
Let's go Triple H, and then I'll be cocky and throw myself in there too.
I mean, you have to. We've done a bodybuilding show before. I'm a powerlifter, by the way, so I understand the whole weightlifting concept. Maybe not to your level, but so what I'm really into is the numbers. So what's your 1 rep maxes when you're in the gym?
Oh man, so I don't really test out that kind of strength anymore. Just after wrestling 10 years and lifting for over a decade, you got wear and tear and injuries and things just don't work right anymore. Honestly, I don't remember the last time I did a flat barbell bench press. I do a lot of incline, or I don't do as much free weight squat as I do maybe hack squats. So I do a lot of not necessarily the big 3 lifts. But I've benched over 400. I've deadlifted over 6. I've thrown up some numbers in my day.
Was there a time in high school you and your friends would just go to the gym and just try to lift something incredibly crazily high?
Oh yeah. Well, back when we were in high school, you were just basically trying to max every week. But there was a phase in my early 20s where I was kind of focused more on powerlifting type training and really pushing the numbers. I was squatting heavy almost every time I got in a gym. I was benching heavy almost every time I was in the gym. So luckily, I videoed some of those feats of strength, so I have proof it happened. But that doesn't mean I'm still lifting like that every time nowadays.
Of course, I mean you gotta start somewhere. You gotta get in there and try to see if you can move 600, even if you can only do 200. But to get into MLW, ever since they came back recently last year, they haven't had any fans to the show, much like many other wrestling events. What's it like wrestling for MLW with no fans now?
I mean, so luckily I got to have a couple test runs in the way of wrestling for some other places without any fans before doing MLW. And it's difficult. I'm not gonna lie, especially for someone with my style of wrestling, who's very much a call and response, play off the crowd, respond to the energy I'm feeling. So taking away that aspect of it is difficult. It's a challenge, but that's just, you got to look at it as, exactly that, a new challenge to take on. So it's been rough, it takes away one of the biggest things we love about wrestling, right? Is performing for live crowds. But in the day of social media, you still get that kind of, maybe it's a delayed gratification, but you still get that, ability to showcase your work and let people kind of interact with you and respond to you and let you know what they liked about it. So it's different, but hey, we're making do the best we can.
it seems that like during quarantine, you actually like double your numbers on social media. Like you had like a pretty high Twitter following, but it seemed to almost like double since. So like, what was your secret for yourself or like any other wrestler that wants to get over during like a time where you can't really interact with fans in person?
Man, so it's like it's weird because I didn't necessarily like make some decision like, oh, I'm gonna be the Twitter guy, but especially quarantine and just like having having kind of limited things that I was able to do myself and knowing that other people have things to do and knowing that I wasn't going to have a consistent, supply of new wrestling footage and things of that nature to be putting out there and keeping myself relevant. I just, things that normally I would just do in my day, I decided, hey, let's put a camera and let's film it. Or, if I had a funny thought, or a funny joke or a funny story, instead of just keeping it to myself, just, share it on Twitter, people gravitated towards interesting things. Sometimes people were liking me because I was playing guitar, or, sometimes people were just liking me for a silly comment, or sometimes it was wrestling, but whatever it was just, providing some kind of content for people to see, different sides of, the wrestler and find out the aspects of them that they like. And then hopefully that translates into the people following the wrestling and actually, becoming a fan of what I do in the ring.
That's great. So like when you were like, I guess by accident or on purpose, gaining that following throughout quarantine, was there a certain person that followed you like, whoa, I didn't expect them to see what I was posting on the Twitter machine?
Not necessarily. Every once in a while I'll get like a retweet or a DM or, a message back from, some wrestler I watched growing up or someone who works in the office for, certain companies that I'm like, wow, it's just weird how people like, Twitter more than any other social media platform really encourages like you to just branch out, because you like something on Facebook, you like it, but you like it on Twitter, you retweet it. So you automatically put it in front of a new audience. And it's just interesting to see like the ways that I was able to connect to these people and, now having, somewhat of a relationship with people who I, otherwise would have never had probably any communication with.
That's great. I'm sure they also probably see you on MLW every week. So what was it like to actually eventually get signed by MLW? Because I've talked to a few guys on this channel before, Calvin Tankman, Myron Reed, and they talked about how they've gotten signed to MLW. So what was your story to make it to Major League Wrestling?
Well, it was really cool because, I had, I've been at this a while. A lot of people don't, think I'm kind of new just because I've really, started to, blow up or whatever you want to call it in the last couple of years. But I've been doing this a long time, about 10 years, and I had like opportunities with so many companies, but nothing ever panned out and nothing ever became a contract. And then at the beginning of 2019, right, 2019, yeah, everything kind of changed with the world of wrestling because AEW became like an official company, and then it was just like companies started kind of going after who they wanted.
Yeah.
And MLW specifically reached out to me about a couple of dates, and they had a couple questions, and it was kind of like trying to figure out the nitty gritty, the details of pricing for to do a couple shows. And I'm looking over it, and then next thing I know, like I kind of respond to them, and the next thing I know is, hey, actually, we have big plans we want to do with you. Do you want to sign this contract? Here it is. We want you to start, in 3 weeks. And I was like, what? Like, it was just kind of out of the blue, to be honest. But that kind of faith and that kind of, hey, we want you. We have ideas for you. We want to start doing stuff with you right now. Do you want a job? That put a lot of confidence in the decision to sign with them. And, ever since then, that's been a huge thing, is just having a platform, having opportunities, not necessarily just making a paycheck, but being featured and having, just having a playground to explore, basically, so it's been really good and really a beneficial situation for both parties, I believe.
Well, of course, yeah. It seemed like they made a really good decision because you're definitely one of their top guys right now. But for fans that are starting to get back into MLW or haven't watched MLW yet, why should more fans and more wrestling fans start watching Major League Wrestling?
Well, you got to realize, people, a lot of people you end up watching in other companies, a lot of them have come from MLW, and a lot of the people right now are those stars that you just haven't necessarily seen yet. I'd put a lot of the guys on our roster up against, anybody on any roster. We got a lot of young and hungry talent. But not only that, there's not a group of writers or creative, trying to tell wrestlers exactly how to talk, exactly how to walk, exactly how to do their matches. There's a lot of freedom there. And when you have that free range, you're going to have a lot more organic material produced. You're going to have more real promos. You're going to have more real matches. You're going to have a feel that the wrestlers are out there doing what they love to do and doing it the way they want to do it. And I really believe that comes across a lot differently, a lot more genuine on TV.
Of course, yeah, it definitely seems like that. And now, since you're also a national openweight champion, you've held the title for 600 days plus, which is amazing. You don't really see that many wrestlers in top companies actually hold titles for that long. So that's a feat in itself. You don't necessarily have the championship on you right now, though, because of a certain guy that decided to kind of attack you from behind. For Muertes, who took the championship, what was your first reaction when you realized he didn't just attack me from behind, but he also took my championship?
I mean, it's like tugging on Superman's cape. You're just kind of asking for it at that point. But really, it as annoying as it is, as frustrating as it is, especially seeing them, him and Salina on Twitter posting pictures with my championship. At the end of the day, it's exciting because you can't deny that he's a world-class competitor. He's been all over the world before I was even wrestling, so as much as it's frustrating, if you're going to give the fans a fight to be excited for and you're going to build up that anticipation, so be it, because it's just a matter of time before we get in the ring, and I'm going to get my championship back when I beat him, and hopefully that's provides a main event caliber match that the fans are going to be really excited for.
Well, there's a pay-per-view coming up pretty soon on the 31st. Is there an opportunity that we might see you guys step in the ring then?
I honestly, I'm not sure. That pay-per-view is they're already releasing a lot of matches, and it's already kind of a stacked lineup. And the last thing I want to do is be squeezed into an overbooked card where it doesn't really fit. I want to have time to go at it. We ain't gonna go in there and have the 5-minute match. We're gonna give you a main event. So we'll see. I don't know exactly when it's gonna happen. All I know is it's a ticking time bomb. It's bound to explode.
Well, yeah, of course, whenever that does happen, hopefully you get your title back. But at the end of the day, you still are the champion. And not just yourself, but Jacob Fatu is also a 600-day plus world champion. But it seems like you guys are on this collision course to one day finally facing each other. Like, I can just smell it. It looks like it's going to happen. One of these days, it has to happen. So why would your reign as National Openweight Champion be more important than Jacob Fatu's? Because it seems like you're the number one guy in the company, but Fatu seems to be the world champion.
That's the thing, right? It almost feels like we're a company with two world champions. It doesn't, to me, maybe I'm a little bit biased holding the championship myself, but to me, it's not like there's, the top guy and then the secondary belt. It's like there's just two top belts. I feel like because of the caliber of work I've been able to put out, because of the matches I've been able to have, because of the buzz I've been able to create around my championship. Maybe that belt was made to be a secondary belt to launch the next guy, but I happen to be the first guy who won it, and I feel like I've done everything I could to elevate it, and now it's kind of just become just as prestigious as the world title. So at this point, yeah, you have two world champions walking around the locker room. It's getting really frustrating. I feel, it's time to put up or shut up and see who's the real top dog, because as much as he wants to say he's got the top prize, it's just the label. And at the end of the day, I feel like I've elevated mine to mean just as much, if not more. So something's got to give. We really need to establish who's the pecking order.
Oh, wow, that's some heavy loaded answer right there. I can't wait to see that happen one of these days. But before I let you go and be respectful of your time, I actually have some fan questions that a lot of people wanted to ask you. First one comes from Chris, and he said, what was it like being with MJF in Dynasty?
It was great. It's definitely some of the funnest times of my career. You know, MLW and specifically the Dynasty really revived my, you know, love and passion for wrestling, just because I'd kind of hit a slump where, you know, I'd been doing it so long and not gotten to a point where I was a little bit burnt out of everything and just not really creatively present for everything I was doing. And then when we started the Dynasty, we went in such a different direction than anything I'd done prior. And it really just became so much fun for me all over again. And really, you know, I don't think I had a shell in any way, but so I'm not gonna say it brought me out of my shell, so to speak, but it definitely let me explore new avenues of my personality that I'd never done in wrestling before. And I think I came out the other side a little bit more well-rounded. And, you know, now continuing the Dynasty with Holiday, it'll never be quite what it was as when we had MJF, but, you know, it's still a fun, entertaining part of the show, and I'm still enjoying it.
That's great. Sam Pine said that he said, "Hi, Hammer. Who is someone that you want to wrestle that you've never faced before?"
You know, I'm no disrespect to the person who asked this question, but I really don't like this question. Just because it's like it's who's ever stepping up. You know, I'm always gonna forget someone. I'm always gonna leave someone out who I do want to wrestle. There's plenty of people. You know, for the sake of this podcast, I'll keep it MLW. I want to wrestle. You know, the top three that come to mind are Mill to get my championship back, Fatu to establish who's the real, you know, champ, and then I'll throw one out of left field. Richard Holiday. You know, he's been my best friend in the company. I think he's really stepped up. I think he's proven himself to be, you know, force to be reckoned with. He's improving, you know, at such a phenomenal rate, and it'd be nice to have a nice friendly exhibition between the two of us sometime.
I'm sure that'd be a pretty heavy blow between friends. I wonder how that would go. But the final question, which is a little bit of a strange one that I got, actually came from one of my roommates in college, actually, who's a big fan of yours as well. He said, what is your favorite kind of hammer, essentially, is what he wanted to know. Because your name's Hammerstone.
I mean, is there any other answer than sledge? Like, is the sledgehammer not the right answer? Maybe you know, I'll go super dorky and say like Stormbreaker. That's kind of like a hammer axe, right?
Yeah, that's close. That's close. But yeah, that was the final question. I won't be respectful of your time. I know you look like you just kind of woke up there. You know, might have to.
I'm still in bed like a lazy piece of crap.
No, I understand. It's just one of those days. But thank you again for coming on the channel. I really appreciate it. If you guys want to watch MLW, I'll leave the links in the description down below so you can figure out where to watch that. It's a great show. Of course, you guys should watch it. You got Hammerstone on it, so you need to. Future world champion, if he's not already considered the world champion MLW currently. But thank you guys for watching the video. Really enjoyed. Make sure you like, comment, share, and always subscribe. And we're out.
We going up like 1,000. I'm a flex just like a muscle man Malcolm. We going up like 1,000. I'm a flex just like a muscle man Malcolm. When it just like 1, 2, 3. If you like the channel, this will squeeze. If you like the channel, this will squeeze. If you like the channel, this will squeeze.